I think I've told you the story about my aunt when she committed suicide. Right, she was like 13 or 14 years old in South America. I've told you that story before, right?
No, I don't think so.
I think well, probably it's a long time ago, but she claimed she ended up swallowing poison, right? Like one day was asking her on her deathbed why she swallowed it. She told him like the Dutch guy was in the tree she was playing, and he told her to go drink the poison, and she had no idea where the poison was. This is the story my family has passed. They could obviously be lying, or they could have forgot, or maybe she found it on her own some other time. But she said the Dutch guy in the tree told her to go drink this and come play with him afterwards.
Whoa.
So she went and drank the poison that was in the cabinet that she had supposedly had no idea where it was before.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Freaky shit. Yeah, but I guess that's a good segue into Voices in the Wind.
Voices in the fucking wind, man.
And speaking of voices, I think I'm hearing something right now.
Broadcasting from Zanzibar land, deep within Outer Heaven Fortress, this is the Snakepit. I'm your dungeon master, Jim Vulture, and this is my brother in pain,
Mortician of the Year, Night Fox.
There's some creepy shit going on out there.
Yeah, man. Sometimes it's labeled as schizophrenic. Sometimes it's really just, maybe it's voices in the wind. Who knows what the fuck's going on out there?
Yeah, who the fuck knows? There's a lot of weird shit.
There's a lot of weird shit.
There's a lot of weird shit going on. This is a heavy topic. The undead. Right?
It is. It's a heavy topic, but it's also something we should take a little more lightly, because we're all gonna face this demise at some point, anyways. You know, it doesn't make too much sense to wallow in it too much. It's just part of being the human existence on this beautiful green fat ass earth.
Yeah, it's a big fat bottom, isn't it?
You ever feel like just slapping the grass and grabbing a handful of
God.
earth ass?
All the fucking time, dude. Like, literally, if I don't get to do that often, I go crazy. I go fucking crazy.
Right? And it feels good to grab.
It feels so good to grab the earth. And just sink into it.
Yeah, and the earth's fine with it. It's like making lightning strike you and shit. It's cool with it.
It's cool with it. It's accepting. There's often a cool breeze as I sink into a bush.
Yeah.
What more could you want? Cool breeze on your asshole as you bury your face in a bush. There's no better way to spend a summer day.
I think we just unlocked like 52 fetishes just in one moment in that time.
Hell yeah.
Earth is really hot, man.
We're going for the Guinness record.
You're gonna see people making out with the fucking floor and shit. Her mother Earth, beautiful bitch.
Just people walking around with dirt on their fucking mouths.
You're gonna look homeless and be like, "Are you homeless, dude?" Like, no man.
I love this fucking planet.
I love this Earth, fucker. Don't you understand?
Fuck you, buddy.
At least maybe it'll stop all this coal burning and shit. You know
I hope so, man. If more people love the Earth, we're gonna be able to enjoy the Earth for longer.
Yeah, if you love in a very sexual like way, you know, you gotta really love the Earth.
This is fucked up. This is going wildly off the rails, off the fucking rails. I fucking love it though.
I know.
But yeah, man, fucking all the mysterious shit that happens in this world. Who knows why? Things line up the way they do, in threes, triplicate, the Ides of March.
Weird coincidences. Tesla believed in the power of three. He'd circle the building he had to go to work for 3 times before he went inside of it. Drove around it 3 times.
Tesla did this shit?
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah. I'm gonna be walking around the block 3 times before I go get coffee.
That's the power of 3, baby.
That's the power of 3, baby. We get sued by Pine Sol. You know what else has a lot of weird shit in it? Is
what's that?
Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, wow. I like that game. It's got weird shit in it.
It's so weird. It just keeps getting weirder, dude. Every time I fucking play this game, there's just so much nuance to how weird Kojima wrote the game, the way it's fucking like the shots, like I'm replaying 3 right now, or I was replaying 3 earlier in the week, and the part where you meet up with Sokolov in the, like the abandoned factory, and like when they leave before the cutscene, at the beginning of the cutscene, Snake walks out, and then Sokolov comes out like doing fucking kung fu, like this ancient Russian guy is gonna fucking fight Gru with his version, I guess.
And he's just mimicking you.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know shit.
I just like that. There's no reason for that to be in a fucking espionage game, but here it is.
Yeah. No matter what you think about Metal Gear, without Kojima, you're not gonna get that kind of shit.
Absolutely
he knows.
Not.
He has a humor that we've all. It's like an acquired taste for Kojima fans too.
He's really embraced the guy loves films. Anytime you see. Yeah, if you follow him on Instagram, he's always posting films that he's watching, and it's genre bending. Everything that he's watching, everything. He has a really eclectic taste, and I think that's reflected in his games and always has been. There's a wide variety of cultural references and jokes, and one of the things that Kojima really touches on throughout the series is the paranormal.
Oh yeah, he loves it. Well, he used to love it.
He used to love it before nanomachines.
To be fair, in Death Stranding, there is a lot of weird paranormal shit. But I'm sure when Death Stranding 4 is released, eventually he's like, oh, no, it was never ghost or shit. It was fucking nanomachine. Like, whatever the hot thing is in that era. You know what I mean?
Just leave it alone. I want to believe that somebody at Konami forced him. They were like, look, you're going to fucking put these nanomachines in your fucking neck, Kojima.
But I want a bisexual vampire, please.
Kojima, nobody's buying this weird vampire shit you're peddling.
He is a beautiful vampire, though. But up until I think I liked his design a little more in 2 than in 4. But
I agree. Yeah, in 4 he looks
he's aggressively sexual.
He's aggressively sexual, which I'm fine with. I mean, if Vamp wasn't aggressively sexual, I'd be upset. But
true.
He is also, in stark contrast to that, dressed like a fucking priest. He has like a priest,
really?
I don't know why he looks like the jacket he's wearing looks like a Catholic priest outfit to me, which I kind of feel like that's probably something Vamp would get off on, is being dressed like a priest. You know how those types are.
Vampires. Yeah, vampires. I know that type. Fucking vampires, man. We're playing MGS1, and all the games really. You always get these kind of like these echoes of the past. I guess you can kind of call them, right? Yeah. The voices in the wind. It's like these images you do pick up when you take pictures. Did you have any idea that this kind of ghost photography or camera obscura shit existed within the Metal Gear universe?
No, I had no fucking clue. The only one that I knew about was in MGS2, which we'll talk about in a minute. But that's the only one, because that's you spend a lot of time just screwing around, or at least I spent a lot of time screwing around in the hold, in the tanker where all the Marines are, and they're like facing left, they're facing right, so they're like, Dolph makes them do like a little exercise, they're fucking dancing the Macarena, all this bullshit.
Oh yeah.
And you fuck around with the camera.
Yeah, you do. You fuck around with everything, especially when at that age when I was a kid. That was like the only game I had. I was a Christmas gift, right? That was my I got a PS2 and I got MGS2, and I didn't have a memory card.
Great Christmas.
So there's a certain amount of that game I've played a lot of.
Yeah, and that's that's the tanker section. So easy to play too. It just it feels comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's like comfort food for gaming. Yeah. Like if you're into Metal Gear, it's comfort food.
Right. I mean, even visually, still, I think MGS2 looks great.
Yeah, that's really just it's to talk strongly about design. Game design, just visuals, like art design. I guess is what I'm really trying to say. Like it doesn't. Obviously, it's a PS2, and MGS3 does look like in some ways infinitely better, but MGS2 has a kind of look to it that just looks good. It's almost like pseudo cell shading or something. I don't know how to explain it. It just looks good.
Yeah, I love the art style in the original like 3D trilogy. There's something really charming about like the software limitations of the PS1 and PS2.
The fact that we got so emotionally involved in the characters that don't even have eyes or
Yeah,
their
they
mouths
don't. Their fucking
move.
mouths don't move.
Yeah.
Well, in
Yeah.
okay, in 2 and 3 they do, but in MGS1,
Yeah.
like MGS1 lit the spark for a lot. Well, I guess a lot of people
Yeah.
from our era. Now it's people are into the
Yeah,
series
yes,
from
yes.
MGS5, right? Which is fucking awesome.
Right. Or I've heard they've come in from Portable Ops and Peace Walker because they were
Wow.
kids and played on those things.
That
you know?
makes a lot of sense, actually. Well, I mean, I guess those 2 games are good for something then, right?
That's the only thing they're good for.
It's really
getting
coasters.
fans.
Actually, they look really cool on the coffee table with a Guinness on top of it.
Yo, we just shit on some kid's favorite games. Those games are okay. They're fun if it's your introduction to it. I mean, there's no real bad MGS.
No,
game.
there's
it's
no
still
bad-
better than most games anyway. You know.
You got it. There's no bad one. And how many hours
Yeah.
did we spend playing those games and playing them as a group?
Oh yeah. It's true. We did play not Portable Ops, Peace Walker, right? That was like the 4-player. Yeah, when it was new. Imagine we used a PSP and fucking what ad hoc party or something it was
the
called?
ad hoc
The app?
party. Didn't you have to? I might be totally wrong, but I remember you had to have your PlayStation open to do that, right?
Yes, you did. Yes, you had to. It was a weird like get together. That's where tech was in that era.
What a
man.
fucking
Didn't know
convoluted
shit.
system. All right, so MGS2 is my real introduction. Did you realize that there was this extensive amount of overt paranormal stuff in this game, or specifically the ghost photos? When did you realize that this was a thing?
So not to this extent. I remember I knew about it more in MGS2 because I used to check like the cheat code.
Oh,
I don't know if it's cheat
yeah.
code Central Game Facts.
Yeah, one of those sites.
But they was like, if you take it's one of the 2. And they said if you take a picture of the projector and you send it to Otacon, that he'll get like a spooky message kind of deal, from it. Yeah, so I knew about that, but besides that one part, I didn't realize until MGS3 when I checked those things again. It said, yeah, if you take pictures here, you'll see all the developers and shit.
Yeah,
which is another thing that is different. Like certain games, the ghost photos have more in-world value than just being, developers and shit.
Oh yeah, MGS1 is, I mean, for lack of a better way to describe it, it's goofy. The ghost photos are kind of goofy, and there's like an option on the screen when you look at the camera, when you look at the photos that you've taken that says exercise, that'll get rid of the ghost in the photo if you don't want it there. And the ghost photos in MGS1 are the devs, and some of them are just mundane photos. The photos they probably took around the fucking office that they were working in, right?
Don't forget one thing we did notice is around a lot of dead bodies is usually a good spot to find a photo. It kind of makes you wonder if they wanted to do more with that, but they didn't really have time, so they just said, all right, let's show some pictures of the devs. It could just be an Easter egg, but it's a weird coincidence that it's around.
I mean, MGS4 has some serious ghost photos in it. They're actually they tie into the story because you go back to Shadow Moses.
Those are more legit ghost photos. I think there is some dev pictures as well, but you see like DARPA Chief and Anderson and the ski mask genome soldiers and stuff. You see those guys around.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know if anybody listening's familiar with MGS4's ghost photography, but go online, and I'm replaying MGS4 right now and just like casually engaging in it. Go online, find a guide, and then just as you play through the game, glance at it every once in a while. There's some really good fucking ghost photos in MGS4 that are actually creepy.
Yeah. MGS4 actually has I think most of the ghost photos, besides an MGS1, this is more of a funny one, is the one when the guy's pissing.
Oh, yeah.
If you take a picture, the ghost is pissing next to him, this is a funny fucking little thing. But MGS4 is the only one that really made it feel like it could be a potential haunting, like your game console haunting.
Yeah, it makes you feel like Shadow Moses is like abandoned. it's a very creepy atmosphere.
I think that's
begin
it
with.
too. It's like you can hear the howl of the fucking snowstorm outside and everything's. It's you've been there. There's nostalgia, but it's not how you remember it being. It's creepy in a way,
And as there is throughout MGS4, when you're in Shadow Moses, you'll hear flashbacks, audio flashbacks to MGS1,
cues,
which adds another layer of disembodied voices, right? Like, that's what you'd expect at, like, a
yeah.
weird abandoned military base that, like, a
Yeah,
terrorist attack
yeah.
happened at. Like, of course it's haunted.
And even if those voices were heard out loud or Snake said, we don't know because, like, in MGS3 as well, like, even though your guy, Naked Snake, I guess, he's not Big Boss yet,
Snake.
it seems like he sees the sorrow, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Who knows? Maybe Solid Snake has some of these latent abilities too. We don't know. Maybe you're just
Could be something like these guys, since they're clones. Like, I don't know. Maybe they have some extra DNA or are missing some DNA that we have, you know, because the government messed around with them. Did they ever actually go deep into, like, what the cloning program was?
I think if I remember right, I have to replay MGS4 as well. But didn't Big Mama allude to, like, she was the womb for Solid Snake and everybody else?
I'm about to get to that part again.
But it's been long enough where I should replay that game again.
Yeah.
I've been replaying because you were talking about replaying the opening scene, and man, why does that game feel so good to play? I know MGS5 does feel really good too, but this 4 just feels like a shooter. It feels like they fine-tuned. It's really well. It's really well
The
done.
action's fun.
But for the ghost photos and shit like that too, MGS1 didn't have too much. MGS2 had the Kojima, which is arguably that's the face of God you're seeing.
Yeah, basically,
within
isn't
their universe, right? So they'd be pretty freaked out to see what they think God might be. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Because Kojima does say he's God in MGS4, and when you're fighting fucking the Mantis chick, I forget, Laughing Mantis?
Yeah, Laughing Mantis, I believe. Is it?
Yeah,
No, it's Laughing Octopus, and it's screaming.
Yeah, Laughing Octopus.
Screaming Mantis.
Yeah, that's just maybe there's a link there. Kojima obviously knew what the camera obscura is to even have the idea of taking pictures with ghosts popping up. You know, it's an old, from like the 1800s, you'd say that.
Oh my God.
The camera obscura.
Within probably 30, 40 years of there being the daguerreotype, which is like the first photography, there was people faking ghost photos and making ghost photos and catching ghosts on film. Probably like mid 1800s in England. People started to catch things on camera that they couldn't explain. And back then, photos, you know, you had like a large camera setup. Like you had to prep taking the shot. It wasn't like point and shoot or anything like that. Yeah. Even though Metal Gear Solid 2 is light on the ghost content, Metal Gear Solid 2 isn't completely devoid of supernatural content, right? Because we got Liquid Ocelot.
Which, who knows what the fuck Liquid Ocelot is, dude? I mean, obviously we know now what it is, and we can go later on to talk about what it became, but in MGS2, what's your actual impression of what was happening? Say, like, when you were playing the game and that scene was rolling, do you remember what your feeling was?
Yeah, he's possessed. I thought it was fucking awesome. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, I think it was clear as day that he was possessed by Liquid, you know, and you didn't really have to think too hard on that.
The official canon is Liquid's personality was imprinted on Ocelot through nanomachines and cognitive therapy and all this other stuff, right?
From what I remember, I don't remember if I read this in the archive or where I heard this. It could have just been one of those theories I read that's not true, but for some reason my mind it stuck as headcanon. It's he was possessed in MGS2.
Yeah.
And during the events of between MGS2 and 4, he removed the arm because of it.
He makes himself a mental doppelganger of Liquid, right?
Yes. It seems like almost like it was cheap, you know? Like,
yeah, it feels.
I understand what they were trying to say
cheap
about Ocelot in the long run. Like, they made Ocelot into this whole different thing than probably what Kojima expected Ocelot to be. Maybe he wanted that way, but I have a feeling that he kind of wrote himself into an interesting corner, you know? He's like, do I make it Liquid or is it really Ocelot?
You have to remember when MGS2 came out, there wasn't any SOP or nanomachine retcons or any of that stuff.
Right.
To me, it's more interesting if he's possessed by Liquid, because that's just bizarre.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Being like, oh yeah, cognitive therapy to, you know, turn himself into this other person is like, it feels unnecessary because there's already established supernatural character in Psycho Mantis.
It's very clear to me that Kojima's into supernatural kind of shit because he kind of went down that same route for Death Stranding. And I do believe that at the time when he made MGS2 as well, he probably thought like, this is going to be his last one. He probably didn't really think he was going to make MGS3. Maybe he had plans like fantasies, sort of like, man, maybe if I make it 3, but financially, I bet you he thought that 2 was the last one. So let me just put stuff I like into this, stuff that I find interesting.
That's how I feel too.
And the possession stuff.
Yeah, I feel like he just thought it was interesting, right?
Yes. I think it was, at least within that universe, it's a genuine haunting because even in 3, we know the whole lineage of Ocelot, right? His dad's obviously the Sorrow. If no one knew at this point, they don't explicitly say it in the game, anyways. Too. That's your own. You have to do your own math to figure that out as well. I think just beside like the way the boss treats Ocelot, like more of like a kid than an actual soldier, and belittling him, like she like slaps him around. And it seems like something a mom would do to a bad child, There's
a weird motherly thing with the boss. I mean, that's like part of her character. She's a mother.
Yes. And he never draws his pistol on her or anything like that, too. He just takes it. He takes the scolding from her.
Yeah. Very creepy. That's creepy in and of itself.
But I do think that Liquid Ocelot, it was a direct possession, because obviously we want to put these things together because we're going by the in-world science and canon.
Yeah.
So Liquid Ocelot's truly controlled by Liquid, and Liquid himself, didn't he say something like he chose his host?
Yeah.
It's a weird throwaway line. Maybe they forgot the whole reasoning behind why Liquid said that.
Well, Liquid
as well.
Liquid says that he uses Revolver Ocelot to get close to the Patriots. Like that's his reason for wanting to possess.
Yeah.
Which is kind of brilliant on Liquid's behalf.
But the thing is, how do you know fucking Ocelot was going to take his arm? It's gonna be like some throwaway line, like they're in the room. One snake sneaking around, and Ocelot's missing his hand. He's like, well, if you die, Liquid, can I have your hand? It's like, sure.
I'd like to pound off with it. So muscular, veiny.
And it might be true because it is like pretty much Big Boss's hand, so it could be a little bit obviously we'll have to talk about the Sorrow too, because why even introduce a character like the Sorrow being Ocelot's dad?
Why even introduce a character being Ocelot's dad?
Yeah, why even introduce this guy? Because it wouldn't make sense for the connection. It just seemed like Kojima was just digging his heels in deeper, of saying like Ocelot had some sort of clairvoyancy or something. You know what I mean?
Building connections. Well, see, this is the link to the possession, right? I think with MGS3, it's clear that Ocelot is the Sorrow's son. There's some genetic transference, because he is the Sorrow's son, and the Sorrow is, by all accounts, a very powerful psychic.
He had to be probably the most powerful to be accepted into the boss's group, you know what I mean?
Yeah. This is where MGS3's supernatural themes come into play with the Sorrow.
I think he really does introduce a lot of it, crossing the river, the Death River.
Right, the river Styx.
Whatever you want to call it, river Styx. He shows you all the crimes you've committed, every single life that you have killed. Some could say, well, maybe it's unfolding within his mind or whatever.
Yeah, Snake has a near-death experience. That's what he's experiencing when you have the boss fight with the Sorrow.
How you know for sure that it was a haunting rather than just unfolds in his mind? He's the one who addresses, after he snaps out of it, he wakes up, he gets out of it. He calls Major Tom, Major Zero, and he asked about the Sorrow directly, right?
Yeah, he knows afterwards, and he shouldn't.
All that stuff kind of leans more into of that being another version of haunting, and obviously Big Boss himself is the only one that seems to see the Sorrow for whatever reason, which goes back to maybe Snake's the only one seeing Ghost in MGS4, but whenever you press R1 button, I guess you're inferring that Snake is you're seeing as a player, you're seeing, I don't know.
We know that the other characters don't see the Sorrow because the scene on the bridge where they take Sokolov, the Sorrow shows up, and that's when the boss says, is it raining blood or whatever that cryptic ass line she says is.
Right.
And then the Sorrow walks by her, and she turns and looks and doesn't see him.
Yeah, and you see them Snake, you're right, and no one else sees him. No one else in the scene, even the guys in the fucking helicopter see him, right? For the most part, for the Sorrow, he is clearly, there's no other way around. There's no nanomachines in that era of the game.
Yeah.
But I think there's also one more thing, at least in terms of my memory, that was kind of weird, kind of supernatural, right? Because you do see in the final scene of MGS3, when you're fighting the boss and she's lying on the ground, and eventually, I think after you do give her the final blow, right? The snake comes off of her.
Yeah.
And it slithers out into the field, which is weird. What's going on there?
Her scar, her cesarean section scar, turns into a white snake, and it slithers off into the field. That turns red afterwards. So,
yeah,
there's no explanation for this.
It's interesting, right?
And as Night Fox said, there's no nanomachines whatsoever in this time period. Snake is witnessing yet another supernatural event.
You know, there's a lot of symbolism when you think about that event, right? Because it's Snake's naivete, right? Like, completely wide field before. And it's like, weirdly, in some ways, if you really want to grasp, like, I think I'm grasping here right now, the snake of knowledge and everything, too. The apple being red, like, after you have the knowledge and shit, too. He was pure before actually pulling the trigger and killing the boss. But now he knows the knowledge. He knows the truth completely.
He's the boss.
So he's taken from, he is the boss.
He's the big boss.
And like, the snake could signify the passage of knowledge and shit like that, too, you know?
It absolutely does. It also represents the physical snake. She's the mother of all the snakes. Snake becomes the big boss. They clone the big boss, and they make liquid, solidus, and solid.
It's interesting, right? I know in a lot of like pre-Abrahamic religions, the snake played a very important role in terms of knowledge and shit like that too. It was never how the Bible tries to make it seem like it's a tricky person. It was mostly trying to spread the idea of knowledge, and I can interpret that scene as really that being what the snake is doing at that point. You know, it's like it's a reach, but
no, it's not. I don't think it's a reach at all. It makes perfect sense, and we know that Kojima is an intelligent man, and there's no way that there wasn't some foresight into the symbolism here with the snake throughout the whole series. I mean, fuck, our show's named the Snakepit. I mean, this is part of the DNA of Metal Gear Solid is the snake, the symbol of the snake.
True.
And just like you said,
it's kind of like the worship of the snake.
It is
isn't it?
kind of the worship of the snake in a way. I mean, we're really a cult built around snakes. Solid snake, liquid snake, solidus. But like you said, the snakes get a bad rep, and it all really started with the Garden of Eden myth.
This is more of going off on a tangent, but one of the first religions they have found was the worship of a giant snake god in Africa, you know? So who knows? This could be Kojima, like you said, is a smart dude, and he could be some sort of symbolism of them bestowing their knowledge upon us. The snake is usually the thing that bestows its knowledge upon us.
And look at what the series has done for us in preparation for this crazy era that we live in. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 2 is downright prophetic. I mean, the things that Kojima talks about prepared us mentally for these concepts to help us. Really, I really feel this way, to cope with what exactly is happening. When I say cope, I mean understand what's happening and try to make sense of it.
Yeah, like you can parcel the knowledge a little better. Like we have a better grasp of what's going on. I do believe that too. I believe even if the things Kojima didn't explicitly state that, you know, there's the reasons for things, I think he allowed us to have a mindset to question things, you know, to never just take the story for the face value, and always do your own research and don't trust the government. Never
fucking trust the government. Question everything. Remember, no matter how bad you think your government is, it's probably worse. That's absolutely true. We could go on all night naming different conspiracy theories, but I think that is best left for the next episode. Yeah, it was a fun one, man. I enjoy the supernatural aspects of Metal Gear. This is why it's the second show that we're doing. We're not focusing on Metal Gear Delta or the Master Collection or any of that stuff. You know, the official news from Konami. Yeah. We want to talk about all the spooky shit that Kojima put into his game. But yeah, everyone knows the dates for the 24th of October. It makes sense to cover it again. Everybody who's listening to this probably knows the dates, and there's nothing else we can theorize about the Master Collection. Right. So, right. You know when it's coming out. Buy it if you want, or don't. I don't care. But that would do it, man. Thanks for tuning in for another
great, solid Snake Metal Gear Snakepit podcast from MetalGearLegacy.com. Come to our site and shake your ass a little bit for us. Tell us what you want.
Shake that ass. Watch yourself. Good night.
Good night, homies.